Some people ask me periodically, like, why in the world would you go into politics? It looks terrible. And you know, there's politics everywhere. Every group of people has a political grouping, cliquey structure or not. Whether your church, your school, your business, hopefully it's kind and gentle and beautiful and cohesive and everyone works together. But the reality is, anytime you get larger and larger and larger groups of people together, people start to break off into groups and have differing opinions. And that's basically what politics is. And why in the world would I want to engage in the government politics that we know can be grueling and difficult, and the more and more we see polarizing opinions going in very different directions, arguments getting more heated all the time. I did it mostly because I lost the argument with God. And you can laugh with me on that, but I said no for a long time. I just wanted to help other people get elected, good people. I worked hard on other people's campaigns, their elections. I was thoroughly involved in politics. I'd help people figure out how are you going to vote, how are you going to figure out which way you want to think on certain issues. We dissect it together, we discuss it together, and I've been doing that for years, and I grew up in a home that was analytical about what was going on in the world and a sense of responsibility for what's going on in the world. It was never a question that were you going to vote or not. Of course you were going to vote. You had to take time to research it back before the internet, on how to be properly informed before you went to the school or the community center or wherever you go to vote. And so I grew up with a sense of responsibility for my fellow man. I'm not an island, and someday when I answer the Lord about everything I've said or didn't say, and done and didn't do, I will have to account for how I took care of people around me, those that had higher needs, or how I got along. So that's really the crux of it. But I also took into consideration, as I kind of went kicking and screaming into this, for me being the candidate, I do have a business background. I have experienced parenting in several different types of schools. I'm able to be diplomatic in tough situations, and because I've had to be in tough situations. Sometimes the worst problems in your life benefit you later. And I realized I can do this. I can do a good job. The need is there. The calling is there. And God's given me the grace and the patience to do it for this season. Someday He might be calling you to whatever level of government to help out. And I also truly believe government doesn't solve all the problems. The government will never be a family. The government is not going to love you and hug you and care for you and nurture you back to health after you've had a hard time. The government is not going to be your church. It's not going to be your close community. The government has narrow focus of what they're supposed to do and what they can be good at if they do it with integrity, and how to be responsible with funding. I think integrity is a big factor in picking a candidate, and I got a lot of people around me to hold me accountable, and that's a good thing. You want that built into your life no matter what you're doing. Good, solid people to help you know when you might be tempted to be confused or deceived, and you don't want to get deceived or confused. You want to stick to what you're supposed to do and do it right. That's sort of the gist of it for now, but thanks for listening. I'd love to hear your comments.